Video to this, man. I had to. I clipped up about I don't know how many different clips that I can make out of little 5, 10 minute little videos. I gotta get these guys. This is a great interview. And this lady here, she throwing bombs. Bah, bah. He like he done digged up in his skull. Like, uh, you know what? You know what? You know what? I think I need to. I think I need to. You know what? Yeah. And he looking like the count, and she look like she in love with him. I don't know if that's her husband or wife, but they just ran, whatever. I don't know. But she look like she's in love with him. But I learned if these are the two main interviewees or interviewers, I mean, then I like these guys. I'm gonna be watching a few more of these videos. But look, I just I'm halfway through the video, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna live react to it. I don't know, haven't seen it, don't know what. See, I gotta like as we speak. I like as we speak. See what y'all got to
Really
say.
interesting aspect of this where if you can reprogram an embryo to grow eyes in places where you wouldn't expect eyes. Okay, so there's two places where my mind immediately goes. Number one, there's a certain permissivity of
Her brain almost exploded. I know, because you throwing bomb questions. Blah, blah. This one's gonna be another uppercut. Tiger uppercut. I like her. She like, wait a minute. Data overload. These questions are
the embryo, where the entire context of the being is that, okay, we are in the process, we are creating the structure, we get instructions, we make it, and then we get to a place where we cease our differentiation and the structures are more or less fixed and they get repaired in place. And so one question, and you can go either way with this, is A, do you think that once the structures are fixed, you have a completely different problem where you would then have to inflict some kind of damage in order to get them to regenerate? And number two, which is kind of orthogonal, is the eyes that form in places where you don't expect, are they then wired into the brain in the way that you would expect?
Yeah, let me do the first one and then remind me of the second one because I'll forget by the time I'm done. The first thing I want to say, which is kind of a cool point, has to do with the permissivity or the competency. So, and this is something that one of these things that I couldn't say back in 2010, but now that we're talking about development as a collective intelligence process, now we can start to think about it this way. If you look in the developmental biology textbook, they will tell you
that makes me wonder though. I know you got proprietary information. He mentioned before in this interview, he couldn't talk about it. He wasn't published then, so of course you probably don't want to put your science out there because somebody might steal it, and that's the problem. This we call that inventor syndrome. I just told y'all in the clip that you probably just see one of the clips I made. I said you can't, you don't, you don't invent nothing. You discover it. So you can claim this science to be yours, and you're the first, but this is knowledge that is already incorporated in the universe. Now you discovered it, you deserve Nobel Prize and all the flowers that go with it. But don't fall into the inventor's trap where you don't get the invention built because you're too concerned somebody's gonna steal your science or your information. This is all public information, at least it should be.
that only in the frog, only the anti posterior neuroectoderm, so the stuff, basically from here up, is competent to be eye. And that's the only stuff that can make eye. And the reason is because if you prompt it with what they call the master eye gene, which is this thing called PAX6, then yeah, those are the only regions that ever make eye. But it turns out that actually that limited competency, and in developmental biology, competency has a narrow definition, which is what it's able to make. I use it more broadly. More generically, the competency of your material is opaque to you unless you probe it with the correct prompt. We need to, and this is, when people say, oh, it can't do this, this doesn't do that. Whenever you're making.
Hold on, y'all. Don't let that slide by. Did you hear him say we need to program it with the correct prompt? Now, isn't that what we're using for AI? And they're now what we call prompt engineers. And I ain't gonna lie, I've been delving in AI a lot. And I've been kind of like wondering about this prompt business. And then I realized, I said, you know what? The people who are going to be the best at AI is those who know the technical terms. Like, I got a technical, you know what? I'm going to pull that book out. It's a technical book with the manuscript, with all these different technical medical information, even the biology book. Take your biology book. Take the most academic books you have and use those words in your prompting. Because what I've noticed, AI, they've been they're reading academia. They're reading academia. So most of the database in which your AI delusion, diffusion, stable diffusion, that's it, DALL-E, Night Cafe, all these different ones. These engines are built on academia's database. So if you use a generic, small words, I don't think you're going to get the best out of your AI. You feel me? And he's using the word prompt now to prompt the Xenobots, to prompt them to build you a heart.
Making an assessment, an assessment of intelligence in some system, you are basically taking an IQ test yourself. As an external observer, you are saying, this is what I have noticed how to make it do. That doesn't mean that's all it knows how to do. That's just what you know. So this is a great case for that, because actually it turns out that if you go to the bioelectric level, no, I have almost any cell, and as far as we can tell, any region in the tadpole is competent to do this. We just didn't know that because we were using the wrong prompt. And so this should, all of this, everything we've talked about, should really fill us with significant humility about what we know about the material that we're working with. You don't necessarily know. If I don't know if you've ever seen these things. I've got pictures of them on my blog and a couple of papers. These plant galls.
I
these
was
amazing,
just about to ask
right?
about that, because they create these insane structures prompted by the presence of like wasps and bugs that move inside the leaves.
Yeah, and if you didn't know that, if you didn't have that example, you would never in a million years say that the oak genome could make this red spiky round thing. You would say, no, it makes a flat green leaf. And it takes a living bioengineer who, as Dan Dennett would say, competency without comprehension, is able to prompt the leaf to do this to build this crazy thing. You would never know it knows how to do that. So that's that's the important thing, is that we really need to understand the competency of our material and what we're working with. And I actually don't think that adulthood is when all of that ceases. There's a Shipothesis thing going on here, which is that in a standard body, right, cells and materials are coming and going all the time, and you need to be able to. It's this thing like in Alice in Wonderland, where you have to work really hard to stay in one place. You in order to maintain a body, you can't just say, well, okay, now I don't need this information. I'm just going to hang out. You will not last very long. And I think there probably are insects and other organisms that live a day or a couple of days where that's true. But typically, if you want to persist, you have to continuously repair, remodel, replace, and so on. And so I think the only thing that happens during
He's letting you know your entire body is a universe, a city, a nation with cells that go and take trash out, cells that intake, convert, recycle. You got basically all the stuff you see in your city, in our civilization, you have in your body. You have Amazon, a shipping company that ships out all types of nutrients and chemicals and this, that, and the other to your body. There's actually the plant. There's certain cells that where this stuff gets stored, and it goes, and some certain proteins and certain entities. Let's call them entities because these names, proteins, and they encoded knowledge. You can make simple words for this stuff, but these cells go pick up this nutrient and take it all over. You got a highway system, a river system. You got everything. You have a waste system that has to get the waste. You got cleaners. You got, I wouldn't be surprised if the cells have to go to school and learn when they're first born. And they got a classroom, I bet you. I'm willing to bet you that in the microscopic level, and they might do it remotely. They might learn or go to this school remotely, where the cells are being remotely taught certain things, like they're going to school before they're let out to perform their jobs. I'm willing to bet it. I can't prove it because you gotta have the equipment that guy had. But plausibility, it seems super plausible.
during maturation is that the scale of those projects gets smaller. So instead of reshaping the whole embryo during neurulation and gastrulation and all that, you're now saying, okay, well, these few cells are gone. How do I maintain the integrity of my epithelium and things like that, right? So, but I think that process of homeostasis, anatomical homeostasis, which I am really into, is continues your whole life. And without that process, in fact, that's what I think aging is a defect in that process. It's basically I think aging is a version of failure to regenerate. It's a which and
So that makes me wonder because I thought about a video I saw where they may say, hey, did somebody DNA manipulate us and put a govern on our bodies? Where now we only living about to 100 years old, 80, 90, and then we start to degenerate. When theoretically, this stuff can go on and on. Now, nothing lasts forever. There's still will be a state where they just can't keep up with the replenishing process because even, I mean, at some point, you got to replace the equipment that's doing all the shipping. And you got to, I mean, at some point, they're going to degrade. It's designed that way, apparently. But he's saying it pretty much can get extended to almost a more immortal. Your body's going to regenerate itself and replenish itself and keep it going. They probably already cracked that. They wouldn't dare let us know if they did. Do you think they'll let the public know? Heck no. That's why he said back in 2010 we could talk about it. Well, they done got some stuff they know that they can't talk about right now.
And development is basically just the sort of regenerative repairs from each embryonic stage to the next stage. I think all of this boils down to regenerative remodeling, which boils down to homeostasis.
Humans can't really grow galls, though.
Sorry, say again?
I said humans can't really grow galls, though, which is
We don't know that. We don't know that.
sure,
Yeah,
sure. I guess
See, that great. This is great dialogue. And that's why I like Dr. Michael Levin. Because we don't know it. And I'm so tired of scientists and smart people. And I love you, young lady. You got some smart questions. But I'm finna push back at you. And you better stop doing it. And we can't do this. Or this is not possible. Or our mere understanding, there's nothing we can sit here and say, this doesn't happen for certain. We don't even know about gravity for sure. Only thing we know is these objects do fall. Are they being pushed down, pulled down? Is it a small force, weak force? Is it electrons? Is it something inertly inside the mass? They don't know. Okay, ma'am. We don't know. I'm glad he stepped up. I've been watching this guy. He really wanna find out some information, but he also skimmed over the fact there's some philosophical issues about this science that he don't want to alarm us. He don't want to alarm us about it.
the only thing that I'm saying is that if I think about the various human diseases, right? Because if there's a parallel between, okay, oak gall, would you say that that's a disease?
No.
No.
I don't think. No, I don't think it's a disease. I think it's a now.
Flabbergasted. Look at her eyes roll back in her head like, you what? He's doing real science. And you better not, he got all the smoke for you, young lady. I'm on his side. I ain't even heard his argument. And my logic already points to his side. She's flabbergasted. What? You mean it's not a disease? I can't wait to hell. I gotta give me some coffee, man. Oh, I thought I was already recording. Oh, where am I streaming this at though?